Zenless Zone Zero has announced a lot of new features or upcoming changes to the game, like changing where we will encounter the TV mode, improvements to leveling up characters faster like more accessibility to weekly material drops, and even some pretty good quality of life features. Rest assured, everything in this video has been confirmed through official sources, so let's get right into it. One of the biggest problems a lot of new players had with Zenless Zone Zero's launch was the TV mode. The TV mode is a great feature and it sets Zenless Zone Zero apart from other games in my opinion, but I do understand that when you start out as a new player, it does feel a bit overwhelming at some times, and you just want to get things done sometimes to progress throughout the game. The devs knows about this issue, so they have completely removed the TV system from Jane's Agent story and version 1.2 story 2, and instead they are adding stages, which I do think is better for storytelling since it's more interactive than looking at the TV mode the whole time while fast forwarding and skipping dialogues. They are also redesigning the whole flow of the early story and also some commissions which they said should be done and ready by version 1.4. This is great and hopefully the players that has quit Zenless Zone Zero because of the TV mode will come back once this is done to check it out, but just be aware that they aren't completely removing the TV mode, and we will still have some TV modes outside of the story with places like events and commissions where the players gave a lot of positive feedback, like the Camellia event that happened recently, and that was pretty fun. Another issue I saw a lot of players were complaining about was how long it takes to fully max out one character in Zenless Zone Zero. Now, if you are familiar with gacha games, this is pretty normal, but they are also improving this part of the game by a lot. They have added a new coffee that gives 80 energy instead of 60, but the only downside of this coffee is that it doesn't give any extra drop buffs. It's still good if you want to farm drive discs or some upgrade materials that you can't get buffs for, like leveling materials or core skill upgrade materials. Speaking of core skill upgrade materials, this used to be so limited with 3 materials per week, but they have surprisingly changed this and made it a lot easier to get, which is great. You can now farm these materials using 60 battery charge per run once you have reached the 3 weekly limit, and you can also buy 4 boxes per month from the Scott Outposts merchant with 150 Z merits per box, which is pretty cheap, and opening these boxes allows you to pick any of the core materials of your choice. This is a great change and this will allow you to finally get all your character's core skills maxed out without taking months or even years to get everything maxed. They have also mentioned that they will give us more double drop events frequently, which is great. One last thing they did to make it easier to max out characters is the new backup battery system. This is a great new system where if you have capped your battery charge, it will now store battery charge over the cap with a total of 2400 battery cap, which is really high and similar to Honkai Star Rail in a way. But there is one thing I'd like to point out here that kind of sucks, and you will still lose out unfortunately once you have reached the base cap. It usually takes 6 minutes to get one battery charge before hitting the cap, but with the new backup battery, once you have reached the cap, which is 240 battery charge, you will only get one battery charge every 18 minutes. This means it takes 3 times longer than before hitting the cap to get just one battery charge, and it's definitely not recommended to hit over the cap then. Now don't get me wrong, I still think this is an awesome feature and in the end everyone gains from this, but it's definitely worth knowing that you will still lose some battery charge over time after hitting the base cap. There is a lot of great game changes and improvements that they are making for the game, and the one that I want to start out with is regarding ultimates in Zenless Zone Zero. I remember seeing some players complaining about ults and asking what's the point of even having ults for some supports and non-attackers in this game. You always ult with your damage dealer since it gives the most value in most cases. Well, it seems like the devs knew about this issue and they are making a big change to the ult system in version 1.4. They are planning on changing the ult system, and once you have enough decibels to ult with your characters, they will all be able to use their ults once for each squad member. This means no longer will you have to choose which character to ult with, and you can just go ahead and use your ultimate with all 3 characters in your squad, which I think is going to be a great new system for the game. Another annoying thing I personally had to deal with is the auto lock-on experience in this game, especially when I had to do the boss fight against Nineveh. Sometimes you try to attack the beast or tentacles that is close to Nineveh, but instead it will auto lock onto Nineveh. The devs said they are aware of these lock-on issues, and they are improving the lock-on feature, and hope it will fix all the annoying lock-on and auto-lock-on issues. They are also making Shield Defense and other places which has a rank system a bit more interesting with changing the criteria to get higher ranks like S rank. Right now it usually has a criteria of beating the level under a certain amount of time without dying with any of your characters. Speaking of characters, they said they will do some model improvements for characters like Hoshimi Miyabi, and that is awesome to hear. She definitely looks a bit weird if you look at her face, and they are aware of this. They have also added the Fairy Explore system if you missed some loot in previously completed commissions, so you don't have to go and do the whole commission over again, and instead just send Fairy to go collect the loot over time. So it's a great time saver if you want to get the loot that you have missed without doing anything for it. There is 2 new Hollow Zero modes, and the Blitz mode has already released, where you don't deal with the TV mode at all, and you just fight enemies and collect Rosonia. But there is another Hollow Zero mode that they are working on, which we will get to see in version 1.4. This new Hollow Zero mode will have combat variety, where you will be able to tweak your character's skills, and it will focus on combat diversity. The devs didn't give us much more info than that, unfortunately, and they are still working on this new mode and will announce more details later, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with Zenless Zone Zero. One thing I always thought is a waste of effort is Lumina Square. You have all of these new shops in Lumina Square, but only a few of them brings in new features to the game. The devs said they will eventually add and expand the city, and this includes the Hotpot restaurant and the gardening shop in Lumina Square. While it's not quite clear what exactly they are planning on doing for now, it seems like they want to bring in more interactable shops and with it new features to the game. In version 1.4 we will get a new Agent Acompany mode. This will be similar to the Trust events where you can DM one of your characters and invite them to a place, but it will be way better. Instead of just doing an event with these characters and it's over, they will follow you around the map. They are still working on what else this will have in store for us players, and they are working on further enhancing this new feature. There is a lot of quality of life changes that the devs has made for Zenless Zone Zero, and one of them is being able to control characters other than Belle and Wise in the city. In an interview with the devs, they've been asked why we can't control all the characters already, and they have answered saying that they are encountering some problems, like Ben being too big to enter some stores or places, and they also want to have 2 walking and running animations which is separate in the overworld and in the combat stages. They did however say that we will be able to control any character by version 1.4, so I'm looking forward to it. They are also adding a game resource management function where we will be able to save some hard disk space, and they have also talked about some cloud gaming which is interesting. For version 1.3 they have already announced Yanagi and Lighter as the new characters so far, with Yanagi being an electric anomaly character and Lighter will be a fire stun character. I definitely can't wait to see them in action, and if you want to see some other characters coming up in Zenless Zone Zero, make sure to check out this video. Peace out.